Sarah, welcome to the Daily English Show. Today we're studying a scene from a movie called Spider-Man, which came out in 2002. In this scene, Peter, who is the guy that turns into Spider-Man, is being dropped off somewhere by his uncle. And he goes to get out of the car, but his uncle stops him because he wants to talk to him and give him some advice. What can we learn from this scene? This is a useful phrase to remember. Thanks for the ride. If anyone drives you somewhere, before you get out of the car, you should say, thanks for the ride, or thanks for the lift. Uncle Ben is telling Peter off, and he says, you shirk your chores. Shirk, to avoid doing something you should do, especially because you are too lazy. Chore, a routine or tedious task, especially a household one. I don't know how common the word shirk is. It sounds kind of old-fashioned to me. If I was Uncle Ben, I would probably say, you don't do your jobs. Another interesting thing in this conversation is Uncle Ben's use of the word look. Peter's annoyed by what Uncle Ben's saying and he's not really listening. So Uncle Ben says, Pete, look, you're changing, I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age. I think when people use the word look like this, they're trying to say, please listen to me, what I'm saying is very important. I've noticed a few American politicians, including Barack Obama, seem to have the habit of saying, look, here's the thing, before they answer questions. It's not really necessary, they could just get straight to the point, but by saying, look, here's the thing, it seems to make it sound a bit more convincing, and perhaps it gives them a couple of seconds to think as well. Kia ora, in Stick News today, the classical music the audience heard at Obama's inauguration was pre-recorded. At 12 o'clock last Tuesday, when Barack Obama officially became the President of the United States of America, a piece of classical music called Air and Simple Gifts was being performed. The piece was arranged for the occasion by American composer John Williams. Some people were surprised to learn that the music they heard on TV wasn't being played live. It had been recorded 2 days earlier. Apparently, the bows of the stringed instruments had been soaked to silence them. The performers said the cold weather made a live performance too risky. The instruments may have been damaged and were unlikely to stay in tune. Despite the temperature being -7 degrees, 3 of the performers performed barehanded. And that was Stick News for Tuesday, the 27th of January. Kia ora. For the next few weeks, we have a special guest on the Snow Report on Tuesdays. David is a ski instructor from England who's working for Scott Adventure Sports in Niseko this season. If you have any questions for David, please write them in the comments, and then I'll have some more questions to ask him the next time we interview him. This is today's question. What advice do you have for kids who have never skied or snowboarded before and are not sure which one to try first?
Well, I think the best advice I can give is to sort of, I mean, a lot of kids like the look of snowboarding, but I think their parents quite often seem to want them to do skiing for some reason. But you can always try it out for a couple of days. You know, see if your parents will pay for, you know, one lesson to go skiing. But really, you really want to spend a bit of time. You don't want to just do sort of one day of one and one day of the other, because it doesn't give you a chance to sort of get an idea, you know, understand the sport, or, you know, really get a feeling for what either one is like. So I would probably say to try one for a few days. You know, go out there with an idea to sort of say, right, I'm going to try skiing, and then, you know, do that if you're just there for a holiday or something. Do the skiing for the week, and then maybe decide the next holiday you'll try snowboarding, because you really want to get past the sort of beginner level, which is the most frustrating part, and then then you start to enjoy it. If you cut that too short, then all you find is just the beginning part, and you never really get past that to sort of enjoy the rest of the sport.
Today's word is canned. Here's a headline I saw the other day about today's stick news. Obama inauguration classical music was canned and frozen. What does canned mean? Informal, chiefly derogatory, of music, applause, etc. Pre-recorded. In American sitcoms they often have canned laughter. That's a recording of people laughing that they play whenever someone makes a joke. Thanks for the ride, Uncle Ben. Well, we can talk later. What do we have to talk about? Why now? I didn't start that fight. I told you that. What was I supposed to do? Run away? No, not exactly. Now, wait a minute, Peter. We need to talk. Well, we can talk now if you'll let me. Because we haven't talked at all for so long. Your Aunt May and I don't even know who you are anymore. You shirk your chores, you have all those weird experiments in your room, you have fights at school. Well, you sure as hell finished it. No, you're not supposed to run away, but Pete, look, you're changing. I know. I went through exactly the same thing at your age. Pre-recorded. A. Arrange. B. Canned. C. Chore. D. Risky. E. Shirk. Canned. To avoid doing something you should do, especially because you are too lazy. Shirk. A routine or tedious task, especially a household one. Chore. Involving the possibility of something bad happening. Risky. Adapt a composition for performance with instruments or voices other than those originally specified. Arrange. And that was the Daily Englisher. See you tomorrow. Bye.